Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Welcome in. Hope you are well. Got lots to get to on today's Wisconsin Sports Daily Show. On a Friday, a jam-packed show coming up today. Jason Hirschhorn from the Elite Newsletter will give us his best available as we get ready to head into rounds 2 and 3 tonight. We'll have the Green Bay Football Draft Show for you coming up starting at 6 o'clock. Charlie Using and myself, powered by Steam Fitters. Local 601 makes all of this possible tonight. We'll cover rounds 2 and rounds 3. So looking forward to getting Jason Hirschhorn on here in the second segment. We'll also hear from Alan True of Rivals. He's in charge of all the Midwest scouting for Rivals. He's been around a long time. He's going to come on and talk about the latest big-time recruit for the Badgers. They land a 4-star quarterback, a son of a former Badgers quarterback at that. So we'll talk to him about that coming up at 3:40. And then, of course, we have Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. That comes up at 4:20. Your chance to nominate people that just need to keep it quiet and save themselves from getting in more trouble than they potentially could be at this point. My camera just died over here, so I'm not really quite sure how to fix a red light, but so you're aware, Charlie. Austin Herdina, I believe, will join us as well as we follow the money coming up at 4:40 or so. So lots to get to on today's show. Let's start off talking about the first round of the draft today before we go any further and kind of recap it. First, let me say that that was weird. That was about as weird as it gets for me watching a draft. I'm used to watching the NFL draft and it kind of being like my Christmas, right? It's like one of my favorite things of the year. That's the one thing where, like, when I was a kid, and I've told this story numerous times over the time I've been on the radio, but when I was a kid, I would literally have like TV trays set up in my room around me with my boards, all of that. Then I'd have poster boards up on the wall in my room as well. And I'd be keeping track of everything going on in front of me. I'd have like 5 or 6 different draft guides, all of that stuff. And my friends would be like calling me and be like, hey, like Tim Allen every year, guaranteed. Tim Allen. Hey, Stevie, how do the Cowboys do? You like their picks? How they do? Every year, man. And then you be in fantasy leagues. Everybody be asking me who I liked in the draft and so forth for the fantasy leagues. And I was just way over the top into it. I'm not way over the top into it like I used to be when I was a kid, because I have way more going on in my life now than I did when I was that age. But it's still an awesome time. I love the NFL draft, the NBA draft, the baseball draft. I love the projection process. And seeing things maybe that others don't see and being able to project and that type of stuff. So it was different last night, though, without the Packers being involved and not having that team that you're sitting there waiting for the entire time. That's kind of what made it different and weird for me. Charlie, you obviously didn't have that because your Bears team had a pick last night.
They did have a pick last night, and it was the pick that David Haw wanted, Dylan Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon. Mm-hmm. Just a player that I think could really help rejuvenate this defense kind of back to where they were last season when forcing turnovers can be that type of guy. Maybe like a Nicky Manwari for the Seahawks, maybe like Kyle Hamilton. At the same time, when you talk about a weird draft, it kind of still felt like a weird pick. Like if the Bears, in my mind, needed other things in other places. Defensive tackle, edge rusher were 2 big spots. I think you could have gone wide receiver for this team, even if there was somebody available at wide receiver. It just felt like safety, while you don't have the players there, is one of those positions where you can be okay if you have replacement level players at that spot. And I think the Bears just went in there and said, you know what? He's there. He's available. People are passing on him. Let's just grab him while we can. And I think that's something good. Did you ever at any point in this draft feel like the Packers may trade back into the first round?
No.
Never once?
Man, coming from 52, you're talking about giving up a lot of draft capital. A lot. And not only potentially this year, but next year. And then Goody goes and talks to the media. Why you would be media there for the first round. I mean, I'm sure the food was good, but other than that, I mean, the chances of him going in the first round were slim. So they go talk to Brian Gutekunst. And Goody says last night, I don't want to give up picks for next year. Well, if he had no intention of giving up picks for next year, where he's got potentially like 10 picks as we sit here today, there was zero chance he was going from 52 to 32 or 31 or 30 or anything of that sort. And as he put it, it was really quiet. Y'all could have just stayed home. I mean, we're being honest. Like, there was no chance you were coming from 52 up. So, no, I had zero expectation that they were potentially going to do anything in that draft last night. And that's why we didn't do a draft show last night. And I had this conversation with the powers to be over me about this. Well, you sure you don't want to do one for the first round? No. Well, what if they trade in? They're not going to. Like, if they do, you all can yell at me and tell me I screwed this up. And obviously they didn't. So tonight, 2 picks. Got picked at 52 right there in the second round. And then we get to the third round after that. But the picks last night, as we just kind of look through, I'm not going to go over all of these picks. The Jeremiah Love pick for the Cardinals, absolutely 1,000% loved it. Loved it. Well, absolutely.
I hated it.
Do you know who? I'm like, let's go over a couple of things. People hated the Bijan Robinson pick for the Falcons. People hated the Jahmyr Gibbs pick for the Lions as well that year. Both of them went early in the first round, and both teams got annihilated for taking a running back so early. I don't know Mike LaFleur personally, but he's related to Matt LaFleur. And I'm telling you, when you are in Arizona and you're trying to figure out how this whole thing is going to work, you have to have and establish a running game of some sort to take pressure off of your quarterback going forward. You let Kyler Murray go, said, we're good, we're out. So the rebuild is potentially on, even though they're going to have a pretty decent defense, I think, if they can stay healthy. But on the offensive side of the ball, build the offensive line, run the football. This dude can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can make people miss in front of him when he's carrying the rock. Hey, again, in Milwaukee, at the Fan in Milwaukee, it's the Notre Dame football radio flagship. So because of that, I really got into start watching a little bit more Notre Dame football. And during the season, I think it was Tommy Wirtz I was talking to. I was like, man, that Love kid is unbelievable. Like, this kid is good. When they took him, like, that was the right pick. I have no doubt they made the right decision there. Now, I can't project health, as we know about the guy we don't talk about in Green Bay they drafted. So you don't know if a guy can stay healthy or not in the league, and good luck, bad luck. But just as far as just God-given talent and ability, man, all day I make that pick if I'm Arizona. All day long.
I get it. I just also feel like Arizona has one of the weakest offensive lines in
they do.
League. And
but it's a rebuild. They're going to have to build everything.
I get it. But when you're looking at where the Lions were when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and where the Falcons were when they drafted Bijan Robinson, the Falcons had signed a couple offensive linemen. They had Drake London.
They thought they were better than they were.
They thought they were better than they were. The Lions knew they were better than they were and thought that adding that extra back there would help out. This Cardinals team isn't in that same spot. That offensive line again is atrocious. Quarterback, I know you wouldn't draft a quarterback outside of Fernando Mendoza potentially in the first round. I know some team did. But at the same time, I think that you needed to go and solidify other parts of your team. You talk about a defense that could be good enough, but they also still don't have a stud outside of Budda Baker on that defense. And I think you could have gone edge rusher, could have gone some of these other positions that just make more sense for this team. And I think when you look at the Giants taking Arvell Reese where they did, again, that was a pick that was weird to me too, but also he was just best player available. Like, how could you let the number 2 player on almost everybody's boards fall that low? That would have been the pick for me easy if I'm Arizona.
You know, the other part about this, when you look at this draft and where they're at kind of going forward here, there was the debate of Bailey versus Reese at 2 for the Jets. Yesterday, while we were doing the show, everybody was on board that it was Bailey, so that got leaked. Okay, fine. Good job there by the Jets to take David Bailey. But for them to come back at 16 and get Sadiq at tight end, that's really good. And then to come back at 30 and get Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana, A+. I got no notes. Just A+. They win. Let's go home.
I like the Cooper pick. I don't know if you really needed to go tight end for this Jets team. They've put a couple draft assets high in drafts the past couple of years at tight end. Mason Taylor was the most recent one for them. That felt like something where I get it, another best player available, but I think too many teams, it just felt like they were doing that too often in this draft when they have notable other needs that they could have been filling.
You know, this is the thing. Here's the Jets offense, okay? Geno Smith. Yeah, am I a Geno Smith guy? Not really, but Geno Smith, okay? Veteran quarterback, nonetheless. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., A.D. Mitchell, who they got from the Colts last year, Kenyon Sadiq.
He played well at the end of the season, him and John Mechie.
Kenyon Sadiq and Mason Taylor, also not a bad tight end, are their two tight ends. And then you got Fashanu at left tackle, Parham, Josh Myers at center, Tippmann, the former Badger, and Membu at right tackle. I mean, that offense with Frank Reich as coordinator, they should score points. Did you see the video when they called Sadiq?
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
He thought he was getting punked. He didn't think it was real. The GM gets on the phone, and then when he gave it to whatchamacallit, Aaron Glenn, then he was convinced that it was real. He told Glenn, he's like, I thought I was being punked. I didn't think that was actually real. I didn't think it was actually you guys. He's like, no, man, it's real. And then by the time he gave it to Woody Johnson, you could hear Sadiq like crying at that point. Meanwhile, Frank Reich is like jumping up and down, going crazy. He gets on the phone. He's like, what I tell you, man? I told you. So he must have made a promise to Sadiq that they were going to get him one way or the other. So that's just cool, man. I'm happy for the Jets. They've been bad for so damn long. They've been horribly ran. And part of that is Woody Johnson being incompetent. But besides that, I mean, that's a legitimate offense right now. If they can get a quarterback, they could be pretty good.
They could be, but their defense also, like, could you name one guy off the top of your head there?
Well, hey, that ain't my deal. Aaron Glenn, you're the head coach. That's your deal. You figure that out. On the offense, that's where they've been really having issues. So I thought the Jets did a great job there. Some of the other things that kind of stand out as you look at this deal, I think the Browns did pretty good as well for themselves, getting an offensive tackle to protect whoever that quarterback is going to be in Cleveland. Plus, you get Concepcion, the wide receiver from Texas A&M. I think everybody likes him. So I think the Browns did a real good job. The Rams. Got to talk about the Rams a little bit here before we get to Jason Hirschhorn of the Elite Newsletter, talk about the Packers picks coming up tonight. First of all, good job. Let me just say this. You did good, okay? Now, I understand. I understand, and I'm well aware that you are going to take heat on this all over the place. You're going to take heat on it because this isn't something you should do. Because you, the Rams, are supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team. This is not something that you should be looking to do at this point. Oh, I don't see it. We don't have any audio on that. But Andrew Brandt talked about it as well. Listen up. So the Packers have done this, and the Packers got blasted for Jordan Love. Okay? Now, when the Jordan Love pick happened, that was COVID, right? So LaFleur's at home. Goody is wherever Goody is. They trade up. First of all, they trade up. Rams did not have to do that. They trade up. They make the pick. LaFleur looks like a little schoolgirl. Wow, I'm so excited. Wow, right? So excited. And apparently they did not communicate very clearly or not soon enough for Aaron Rodgers liking that they were going to do this. Last night, they communicated with Stafford they were making the pick. I'll tell you what I didn't like about this process. I like the Ty Simpson pick. I got no problem. I watch a bunch of Alabama football. I got no problem with the pick. No, I know he doesn't have a lot of stars, 15 stars, whatever it is. Okay, I get that. He can make plays. Dan Orlovsky, this did not make me feel good. Put together a highlight package of why he loves Ty Simpson. It was one drive that Ty Simpson had for Alabama this year. Did you see this? The video?
I didn't see this, no.
Who do you think the video was against?
The one drive for Alabama.
One drive.
Probably Wisconsin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course. Look at this one drive against the Badgers. And it was every play in the drive, right? He goes through every play. He goes, after I watched that drive on film, I was like, he's good. He's a first-round quarterback. Let's go. Right? He was sold on him. Okay. My issue was, Sean McVay, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Now, if you weren't in on this, you got to fake it until you make it. You just do. You can't sit up there and pout and be mad and act like you had nothing to do with this. You had everything to do with this. Les Snead and you had to be on the same page. I was watching him answer questions. Les Snead, by the way, thanks for dressing up with jeans. They were sitting next to each other, and Snead's like looking at him like, come on, dog, come on. And no, was not having it. And then if you go back to Kay Adams when she interviewed McVay prior to the draft, and she asked him about Ty Simpson, because at that point they thought they were going to take Ty Simpson at the end of the first round, he was like, well, we're going to get a lot of good players, blah, 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 blah. He goes, I'm sure I didn't watch as much Ty Simpson as you did, Kay, but, kind of what I saw, literally just said, I probably didn't watch a ton. And then they take Ty Simpson. Matthew Stafford is what, 38? Mm-hmm. Dude, he's about done.
And he's been like toying with it in
retirement
the past couple years. Yeah.
Right. Like, regardless if this works or doesn't work, it was a smart move by them. Could they have taken another wide receiver? Sure. They could have taken another wide receiver up there at 13. They could have went a different position. But you could also solidify the quarterback room and have a starter with an offensive-minded head coach who knows what the hell he's doing in Sean McVay, like LaFleur, and has shown that he can get to the mountaintop and win a Super Bowl, unlike Matt LaFleur, but he's done it, okay? And now, hopefully, if you're a Rams fan and you're Sean McVay, you don't have this gigantic dip of like 5 to 10 years trying to find another quarterback. Now, hopefully, he sits behind Stafford for a year, maybe 2, and then is able to go out there like Love and go play without any real due pressure at that point. You got a younger player and Puka Nacua that's going to be out there with him. He's going to be on a rookie contract, so you're going to be able to add pieces around him because it's not going to be a gigantic contract like Stafford. I'm telling you, you can give him a D, you can give him whatever you want. I give him an A+. A+. Most teams don't have the guts to do what they did, and I applaud them for doing what they did because it was a smart move.
Except for it didn't seem like they were on the same page. And I think Sean McVay...
That's because McVay is boys with Stafford. Do you remember how that Stafford deal went down?
I also think McVay is the most important part of that team, and that if he's not on the same page, then that's a problem.
Listen, no, you're misunderstanding something here. They could be on the same page behind closed doors. We're good. But now Stafford potentially could be watching me, and that's my boy. No. I got to. Do you remember how that Stafford deal went down?
Stafford also knows that it's his job to be coach of this team, and that if he wanted to praise Ty Simpson, he could have. And Matthew Stafford can know that it's the business, and that's what he's supposed to do.
See, I love you because you are level-headed and act like everybody that has a gigantic ego is level-headed like you are. And that is not how this plays. That whole Stafford deal happened with what? Weren't they in Mexico partying together? And he's talking about getting me out of Detroit. And, we should come get you and trade for you. That's how that whole thing played out. And then they went and they got him. I'm just saying.
That doesn't mean he'd be mad at Sean McVay for doing his job and supporting the draft pick if that's what he wanted. Like, again, it doesn't feel like McVay was 100% in on this.
Well, he's going to have to be because that's going to be his coach, his guy going forward. Now, we'll know if he's not because if when Stafford retires, McVay goes, I'm out too, then you'll know, okay, he wasn't in. But if Stafford retires, McVay signs a new deal and Simpson and him roll, then I think it's maybe a little bit different. But we'll see what happens. Coming up next, Jason B. Hirschhorn. You can see him. We are streaming live on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, and on YouTube. All of us. Facebook, if you're looking for us, it's still our local Facebook in Milwaukee. I'm sorry. The Fan Milwaukee on Facebook if you want to find us. All the rest of them at WI Sports Radio. Talk about this Packers draft. We'll see who Jason wants him to take tonight, rounds 2 and 3. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
And we also want to celebrate the special connection we have with our fans that dates back to the early days of professional football.
This is the longest
With
intro
the 23rd
ever.
pick
Oh, here it
in the
is.
2025 NFL
Who is
Draft,
it?
the 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers. For the first time since 2002,
Matthew Golden?
draft a wide receiver.
Matthew Golden? Is it Golden?
Matthew Golden, wide receiver.
Let's go!
Wow. That's
Come on!
electric, man.
Inject that into my veins!
You know, I gotta say, if Tommy's girlfriend ever hears that, she's like, "You don't get that excited about me. What is going on with this? What is that all about?" Tommy Wirtz. See, Sparky Fifer with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. That was from our draft show last year. Charlie and Tommy did an absolutely amazing job with that draft show last year, and we'll be back on the air tonight. This time it's Charlie and myself covering the second and third rounds Green Bay draft show. Again, powered by Steam Fitters, local 601 coming up tonight starting at 6 o'clock. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. You can see him on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on X, all at the same time right now as we stream this bad boy live at WI Sports Radio. He is Jason B. Hirschhorn of the Elite Newsletter. What is going on, Jason?
Sparky, it has been too long.
It has. It has been a long time, and I am very curious to get your thoughts of what your reaction was last year. We just played Tommy Wirtz losing his ever-loving mind in excitement when they drafted Matthew Golden. What was your thoughts when it happened, and what are your thoughts now a year later?
In the moment, I think my reaction was a little more muted, certainly more muted than the reaction you just played. I thought they were going to seriously consider a receiver in the first round. I know the history at that point had been like two decades and change that they hadn't done so, but you just looked at what their needs were both in 2025 and in the years to come. You look at how the board ultimately fell leading into the pick that the Packers made. And, you know, Golden wasn't the player I went into the draft thinking they would land, but it wasn't a shock that they ultimately did that. It just kind of made sense from a need and process standpoint.
You know, the other part about this too is how much of what happened this year with Matthew Golden had to do with coaching, how much had to do with the quarterback potentially not trusting him, and how much had to actually do with him, do you think?
Well, he's a rookie or was a rookie, so certainly some of that is that he was inexperienced at the NFL level. You know, he was a junior, a true junior coming out. So that was a factor that would always be a factor, will always be a factor for rookie receivers. That said, I think you have to look at the way he was deployed by the coaching staff. I do not think it is the case that Jordan Love didn't trust Matthew Golden. You looked at some of their high leverage situations when Golden was on the field and they had a pass. Those throws went to Golden on a somewhat regular basis, including, by the way, in that playoff game. So I don't think it's fair to say that Jordan Love just didn't trust Matthew Golden or that was like a chemistry issue. It did appear as though those two were on the same page, at least often enough. But Golden just didn't play, especially after Christian Watson came back from his injury, just didn't play as big of a role. Now, that appears likely to change in 2026 and moving forward, but I think you have to look at the way he was deployed as being the primary reason, in addition to his inexperience, as to why his production was relatively low compared to what we thought going into the regular season.
So Jason B. Hirschhorn, co-founder of the Leap Newsletter. Follow him on X at @by_JBH. All right, let's talk about how last night played out for the Green Bay Packers. I feel like the board felt really, really good, and Goody pretty much said the same thing about, hey, look, we feel really comfortable where we're at 52. He also admitted that they're not trading next year's draft choices to move up, so you can scratch that out of the realm of possibility. After hearing him last night, I feel even a little bit more comfortable with the idea that he potentially could even move back farther than where he sits at 52 to try to pick up another draft pick or two.
I think there was a scenario even before day one unfolded where that was possible, the trade back scenario from 52, because if you look at just what the general consensus is of both the Packers' needs and this draft class in particular, it does seem like the value for them would really be from about where they're picking right now through like the middle of round 3, maybe even beyond that. So getting additional draft capital and moving back into that range would have made sense. However, I'm actually willing to make the opposite argument here. Because of the way the first round unfolded, and there's a handful of guys that I don't know that the Packers thought would all still be available starting on day 2. I think there actually is a bit of a case for trading up from 52. The cost is always going to be more than you want for trading up, but it's not the same as it would have been if you were to hypothetically trade into day 1 from where they are in the second round. They could do a relatively reasonable bundling of their picks, including that second round pick that they have, and move up into the early to mid 40s. Now, the reason why that might be significant is that gets you right ahead of the Miami Dolphins with John Eric Sullivan, a guy who probably likes a lot of the same prospects that you do. I mean, one of the players that the Dolphins drafted in round 1, Chris Johnson, the cornerback out of San Diego State, someone that the Packers were heavily linked to. So if you feel like, yeah, there's actually more value for us in particular, given our requirements, than we thought there would be going into day 2, and I do think that's a fair assessment, and you want to get ahead of John Eric Sullivan so you can actually get your guy, the argument is actually there.
Let me make the argument for this scenario, which Tommy Wirtz, who was on earlier, is pretty much demanding they take a corner tonight in rounds 2 or 3. But I think I can make an argument that I could take Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle, in round 2, and potentially still have a chance to get Orange from Iowa State, another defensive tackle, in round 3, and then not have to worry about that going forward.
So my immediate counter to that is it is always a risky proposition to depend on an interior run defender as a rookie. Now, this is true whomever they potentially draft there. So if they were to grab multiple, yeah, you feel better about your chances because that's multiple swings, but
because you have
relying on rookies.
Right, but you have Hargrave and Wyatt right now in the middle. You still have Brooks, who again,
but they're not true run defenders in the way
Correct.
that you would want your nose tackle to be. Now, that doesn't mean don't draft one of those guys. I think it makes sense for them to, at some point between today and tomorrow, to add a real, true nose tackle, even if it doesn't end up being as impactful in 2026. You're going to need that long term in this odd front configuration. But I don't think you necessarily have to worry about getting the nose tackle or the corner in particular with any of these particular picks. The way the board has fallen, you'll probably have decent choices at both positions in either of those rounds. And for corner in particular, going into day 3 as well. Like the real glut of value at cornerback in particular is that late day 2, early day 3 situation. And they have additional picks already because of the Dontavian Wicks trade where they could maneuver around. Or if they trade back from one of their picks today, they could add additional capital there. So I think that they have a lot of flexibility. And as Gutekunst said, the board has fallen very well. And the other interesting thing that Gutekunst said from that presser last night is that he felt like there really was, after about pick 15, a kind of flattening of the talent curve for a while. And I don't think he was just speaking out of his rear. I think that he really felt that there were other general managers going into the draft who made similar comments. I think that's kind of like a league-wide belief for the most part. So it has looked thus far to be a pretty favorable situation. Now, that can change very quickly, right? Like if 5 corners come off the board in the first half of the second round, suddenly that doesn't look as generous to Green Bay. But that's part of the reason why I think they would at least make some phone calls about moving ahead so they can get one guy at least at a need position that they like.
Now, this is the other part of it, too. So if we agree that defensive tackles will be there in the 3rd round, and if we agree corners are going to be there in the 3rd round, then could they go exploit other areas? Because I think there's going to be good interior offensive linemen at that pick still, and it appears there's still going to be some young, bigger meaning taller, athletic wide receivers that are probably going to be in that area as well at 52.
Yeah, the wide receiver one is the most interesting to me. That there is offensive line talent that would make sense for any team, but specifically Green Bay in the middle to late of the second round, especially with the way that the draft has unfolded so far. Wide receiver is very, very interesting though, because right now that is not a need, right? Unless there's an injury we don't know about that occurred over the weekend, they have Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed. They still have Bo Melton, who we know that Matt LaFleur loves. But the point is, they feel pretty good about that group collectively.
Hey, one second. In terms of those contracts right now, it's hold on 1 second. Hold on. I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to interrupt you real quick. So, did you know? I'll let you finish on the wide receiver thing. Did you know Bo Melton put on social media that he is running a league for Madden? And it's 32 teams, and it was first come, first serve, and anybody could get into the league to have a team, and then they play a full schedule. So you play whoever you play, right? And you line up your schedule so you can play the games. He didn't take the Packers. He took the Texans and then traded for himself.
Well, the last part of that does make sense, right? If you're Bo Melton and you're playing in the NFL, you want yourself on
but
the
you
Madden
don't take you don't take your team and your quarterback. That I don't know, man. That's just a little weird. Sorry, you brought.
I would say that might be some Gen Z. You know what? I don't think that's that uncommon among that age group.
That's just weird to me. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, with wide receivers, they just don't have a lot of contractual runway with these guys beyond 2026. Matthew Golden and Savion Williams, the third-round pick from last year, are the only guys who have played meaningful snaps, and Savion Williams barely meaningful in that regard, who are under contract for next season and beyond. So we think Christian Watson is going to get an extension, or at least that's a conversation. It's also possible that Jaden Reed does. But right now, they don't have contracts. And if you're Green Bay, you could make the argument that even if you plan to extend one or both of those guys, it makes sense to add because Christian Watson has gotten hurt in virtually every season that he has played. And when you don't have him in your lineup, you see how it changes the passing game and really just the entire offense altogether. So having insurance for that, a guy who could have not just similar size, but similar field stretching ability would make a lot of sense. Now, it's not like there's a million Christian Watsons running around, but there are guys in this draft, Chris Brazel II, you can make an argument for Ted Hurst as well, who could replicate at least some of that and provide long-term upside on the boundary. So I absolutely think that kind of thing is in play for them in the second round.
Jason B. Hershore and Leap Newsletter. He is a must follow on X at @by_JBH. Sign up for the Leap Newsletter as well. Okay, give me your top three guys that are, if they're there at 52, that you would want to see the Packers pick. Maybe you don't react like Tommy did with Matthew Golden pick, but you're excited and happy and clapping your hands.
So I don't have a lot of faith that these guys actually will be available at 52, but just because there's so many of them, it seems a little more likely that at least I thought a day ago that they would. So Caden McDonald is on that list. He is maybe the one nose tackle in this rookie class who I think could be an impact run defender out of the box. Other guys who I think could get there maybe even during the rookie year, but I just don't imagine that they will be able to provide that in week one. And the Packers just don't have that position totally locked up right now. Caden McDonald, again, I think is the exception. Someone who, if the price is right, I would be willing to move up for if I'm Green Bay. But I think that's a name you have to look at.
Isn't he the one in the green room still, right? Is that who's in the green room still? Who's in the green room?
He might be if he was invited. I don't have that list in front of me, but he was certainly someone who seemed like a not necessarily a locked on day one pick, but someone who seemed, at least a coin flip chance of going in the top like 25 or so. I actually thought that might be the pick for Chicago at 25. So once he got past Chicago, that got my antennas up that this could actually be a day two possibility for Green Bay. So that's one of the names. I would also say both of the cornerbacks from Tennessee, and for different reasons. Colton Hood, like just a hammered on Packers type, fits the need. And, cornerback is a position that Green Bay would definitely like to upgrade on if they can for 2026, but they absolutely need to have more bodies there for 2027 and beyond. So it sort of checks both of those boxes. And then Jermod McCoy, I don't know what the situation is exactly with that medical. I have heard that there are some teams that think that the medical is fine, like not great. And keep in mind, it's not like a physical, you get like a pass or a fail. There are degrees to this. Some teams will say, okay, this is pretty close to perfect. That's pretty rare, but it happens. And some people say, oh, we're absolutely not going to consider you unless it was like at the end of the draft, maybe not even then. And there's not really an agreement on Jermod McCoy. There are teams that will not have him on their draft board because of the medical. There are teams that will have him at essentially a discount relative to his ability. I don't know if Green Bay is one of them. I kind of wonder if they are. Like Green Bay in certain ways has had a very conservative medical staff, but that has not always applied to rookies. And we have seen him work out during the draft process. So that's at least an indication that he might be able to get through this injury for the short run, right? Like maybe he's not a 10-year NFL player, but if he's an impact player over the course of that rookie contract, if you're Green Bay, you feel pretty good about that because of the upside that a prospect like that provides you.
That's awesome. Jason B. Hershore, again, Leap Newsletter. Make sure to go sign up for that so you can have that. And on X at @by_JBH. Will be a must follow tonight while the draft is going on too. Jason, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Great talking to you, Sparky.
There he goes, Jason B. Hershore on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. I got some Brewers news. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Luis Matos designated for assignment. It's been real.
All right.
Am I gonna miss him?
No, I don't think so. Do we? No. Is that was it a deposit we gave the Giants? Can we get that back?
Carlos Rodriguez, the pitcher, option in AAA Nashville.
All right.
Math says 2 more have got to come back now.
Right.
Shane Drowan back with the Brewers.
Okay, interesting.
A guy
choice.
that a lot of people in spring training love, Shane Drowan. So he's back, left-handed pitcher. And Tyler Black's back too.
Ooh, let's see what happens, baby. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited. This is awesome. Sparky, aren't you so excited? You don't seem as excited as I am.
And tonight I've got leadoff show to talk more about this and post game with Tim. So let me just make a quick prediction. If I do, he's going to go yard tonight.
Yeah, I believe
I'm doing post game with Tim. He's going to go yard.
I like it. I like it. I'm just saying twice. He's going to get yard twice. That'd be awesome.
I'm excited to see St. John release. That'll be good. So again, leadoff show tonight at 5:00. Green Bay Football Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601 comes up at 6:00 with Charlie and myself. And once that Brewers game is done, after the last pitch, you make the switch. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post game show with Tim Allen and myself tonight. As Tommy is off doing a comedy show somewhere. I don't remember where he said. Do you know where it is?
I don't. I think there's a poster for it.
Is there?
In the break room? Yeah.
He
We got
put
so
up
many
a
funny
poster?
people. Yeah, he puts up. He always puts up posters for these comedy shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. That's a good idea. Yeah, maybe
Sparky
somebody
doesn't
from
pay
work will go.
attention. Wow.
No, definitely don't. Never seen a poster up anywhere in here, actually. Step up to the plate and take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. April through June, you can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. Going back to what we were talking about there is no chance McDonald gets that far down the draft board. Roger Goodell pretty much said, dude, come on. Come back, hang out with me. I'm telling you right now, if I was McDonald, I'd be on a plane the hell out of Pittsburgh. I'm not sitting there and potentially falling in round 2 as well.
A lot of teams that needed defensive tackle that all passed.
Every
on them,
year
man.
somebody's left. Every year.
But this seems like, again, just one of those positions where like he's in a spot where it felt like he was a golden goose sitting there in the 20s for a lot of these teams that were looking for that type of position. And now he's seeing the second round. Like, what's wrong? Like, what's the issue? I want to know. That's immediately where my mind goes.
My mind went to, there are so many of these guys, they don't feel like they had to go get one now. They could get a good one later. That's why I think
maybe he'll fall to pick 52.
They're not letting him sit in that green room pick 52. And if they do, shame on everybody
Vikings
involved.
and Lions are both ahead of them, and they both need that. Come on.
It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, Bobby Portis has been on running back the last couple of days. He was on there again today, talking about the Bucks pick, Taylor Jenkins, Giannis, all that stuff. Here's some of that straight ahead.
I almost forgot. We got to nominate new bumper music for May today. Yes, got to nominate new bumper music. So name of the group or artist and song that you would like added into the rotation for our bumper music coming out of breaks. It's just for this show, just for Wisconsin Sports Daily. And then we will put together a new set of bumpers starting May 1st. So nominate your group, your artist, and whatever song you'd like to hear. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 to nominate your bumper music that you would like to hear starting May 1st. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Still to come, Alan True, Rivals Midwest director of all scouting for Rivals. He comes up at 3:40 to talk about the latest 4-star quarterback recruit verbally committed to the Badgers. He has a Badger lineage tie-in, I guess you could say, this young guy. So we'll get to Alan True coming up at 3:40. Charlie Sansadeh at 3:20. We'll talk about the Crew coming up at 3 o'clock. Bobby Portis was on the TV show Run It Back, and they were talking about the report by Shams Charania of ESPN saying that, as far as he knows, Giannis wasn't involved in the Taylor Jenkins hire.
All right, so here's the big one. Shams is reporting that Giannis was not a part of the hiring process of Taylor Jenkins. Excuse me.
You know Giannis ain't telling Shams nothing.
Come on now, that can't be true.
I don't think it's true either.
Bobby Portis, I don't think it's true either. Okay. I remember they had the picture on Instagram from the trade or whatever. I saw Eric Name saying, I don't know if that was from that day that picture was shot, if it was from another day. Eric wasn't willing to go down that rabbit hole of saying he was or wasn't there. He's like, I don't know. I'm not going to, commit to this one way or the other, which is obviously, as a journalist, proper way to do that. Bobby Portis, I know he feels after the Bucks hired Taylor Jenkins.
I'm feeling good. Obviously, someone who's familiar with the franchise, familiar with what we're looking for, familiar with what we're trying to do and like where we're headed. Obviously, when you take on this job, it's not an easy job. You feel me? It's a championship team with aspirations of winning championship in a small market, so that kind of is already tough. You feel me in that regard? But I'm super excited, for what's to come and what's going to happen.
Have you talked to him yet?
I haven't talked to him yet.
Okay.
I talked to John Horst though,
Okay.
GM, and he seems super thrilled and excited for what's to come. And that's all you can really just be prepared for.
I want to know whose deal this was, because clearly they wanted him. Everything has been around him. I haven't heard any reports of them interviewing or talking to anybody else. This has been Taylor Jenkins' target one since this whole thing started.
Well, and I think if you have that much confidence in that being your target and your only target, I feel like that has to be Taylor Jenkins' top target too. Like, kind of conversely, it has to be on the other side of things. If you were that confident that you don't need to go and interview anybody else immediately after Doc Rivers is gone, then that says you guys had some kind of relationship like you had with him being a part of Bud's staff. But beyond that, throughout the past offseason and season, that's saying he's coming to Milwaukee. Bobby
Portis talking about hoping Jenkins can help keep Giannis here.
Yeah, me too, though. You guys gotta, especially with, Giannis just being, the best player in franchise history, so much he's given to the city, MVPs, championships, and just giving his, heart and soul to the team. Obviously, I don't think there's another superstar out there that plays with that type of grit, that type of fire each and every night like he does, putting his body on the line every night he step out there. So I think it would be real good if the Bucks can get him to, stay in Milwaukee.
Can you give us a little insight as to what the team group chat looked like?
Right now, man, it's dead right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing right now. Obviously, it's the end of the year. We got a lot of guys on our team with player options, so we don't really know the outlook of our team really. So just a different year. We don't really have many guys on long-term deals. We got a lot of guys that's team option, player option, and so some guys are just focused on themselves right now.
I think that was the problem all year. There were some guys that were just focused on themselves all year. And that is why this roster construction stunk. There's maybe no way for them to know one way or the other how this was going to work out, but it didn't work out. Let's talk about the Crew coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2. Alan True of Rivals will give us the latest on the Badgers' 4-star quarterback recruit that gave him a verbal commitment today. His daddy was a quarterback for the Badgers. So we'll talk to Alan True about that and get his thoughts on the Badgers recruiting class in general coming up at 3:40. Charlie Sounds of the day moves up a slot to 3:20. Still to complete the 5th, your chance to tell somebody to shh. Brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. That comes up at 4:20. You can use the talk and text line and nominate somebody for that. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Also on that same talk and text line, you can nominate new bumper music for the month of May. We've got some coming in already. Tiffany, I Think We're Alone Now. Do you know that song?
I do know that one.
You do know that song? Okay,
I'm not
good.
that young.
Def Leppard, Hysteria. Steven Sanchez, Sweet Love. Some of the ones that are coming in, Focus, and the song is Hocus Pocus, an absolute banger from 1971, Schlitzat Patrick says. So there we go. So that's some of the bumper music coming in. We can play your song too. You just got to get it in before 5 o'clock. Again, 414-677-1250. It is 3 o'clock, so we do this.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, it is that time to talk about the crew. Yesterday wasn't all that great. We'll talk more about the game yesterday coming up in the leadoff show from 5 until 6 o'clock. Charlie and I will be here for that. Also, Jack Stern from Brewer Fanatic will join us at 5:20 today. So looking forward to talking to Jack Stern. A couple of great pieces up about Sal Frelick. And what's wrong with Sal Frelick. Another great piece up about how close Zerpa is to getting this all straightened out and fixed. So I want to talk about both those pieces with Jack Stern during the leadoff show. Tommy Wirt's off tonight, so I'm filling in on the leadoff show. Plus, I'll be filling in for the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Reunited again with my guy, Tim Allen, coming up tonight. So if you're not a fan of Sparky, I'm sorry. Like, you're screwed. Find something else to do the rest of the day because you're stuck with me. I apologize for that. My question is this. How concerned should we be about this Brewers bullpen right now? How concerned should we be about the Brewers bullpen right now? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. You can comment in the Dugout YouTube chat. Now, what I don't know is this. Because we just started Facebook and Instagram. So I don't know if you comment on Facebook, if it comes into the Dugout chat. I don't know if you comment on Instagram, if it comes into the Dugout chat. So if y'all could help a brother out, if you are watching on the Fan Milwaukee's Facebook page and you could comment, we can see if we can see it on this side. And if you are on Instagram Live, if you could comment there to see if we can see it on our side, that would be wonderful.
Just a test.
Just a test,
That's all
right?
we need.
So Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Suggest a song.
Suggest a song, or talking about this Brewers. You can answer the question about how concerned should we be about the Brewers bullpen. WI Sports Radio on Instagram, X, and on YouTube. All of those work at WI Sports Radio. Tim Allen, the franchise, was on earlier today, as he is Mondays and Fridays on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. And he said a number that literally had a buddy of mine calling me going, is that right? I was like, man, I have no idea. I'm driving right now. I don't know if it's right or not. I would assume it is. He ain't going to go on there and say something wrong. But apparently, he threw out a number that said the Brewers have had the lead 7th inning or later 20 times this year.
That's a lot. And that's kind of surprising considering that they have 10 losses.
They're like 2 games over 500. They're 13-11.
Or 11 losses, excuse me. Yeah, that one I rubbed out of my mind yesterday.
24 games, and in 20 of them, according to the franchise, they were up 7th inning or later, Charlie. I mean,
before the season started, the one thing we were the most confident about was Uribe and Koenig and McGill. Though Zerpa, we didn't really know. But those other three we're pretty confident about. You watch the World Baseball Classic, you're like, oh, damn. Okay, well, you put him in the back end of the bullpen, Zerpa. So now you got 4 dudes. Koenig gets hurt. Nobody freaks out. No big deal. We'll be fine. We've got 3 other dudes. We'll be fine till he comes back. And they're not fine. They are definitely not fine. And now we're just randomly spinning a wheel to see what inning Trevor McGill comes in, because apparently they don't want to put him back in the 9th inning. But I got news for you. Uribe's not doing the job. So I don't know why you're continuing to do that. We were on the air yesterday when this was all going on. On the air, Jones hits a home run. David Hall from the score is on telling me about how great the Cubs are doing. And at that same moment, boom, tie game.
The Cubs ended up blowing the lead that they
But
had
won
and
in
then ended up
extras.
winning in extra.
Yeah, they won in extras. So Jones hits a home run. Then we go to break, and Torkelson's coming up, the second hitter in extras. Second hitter in the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Charlie's like, Torkelson can take him yard. He's got the power. This is not going to be good. Sure enough, Torkelson gone, and the Brewers lose. So we went from this bullpen being a position of strength to now sitting here April 24th of, oh my God, is this an issue that they're going to have to figure out the rest of the year? How concerned should we be about the Brewers bullpen? Nikolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio. Ziggy messages in and says, this Brewers bullpen went from best to a mess in less than a month. It doesn't help that starters struggled to get through 5 innings. Some of these guys are throwing like they're fatigued. That is Ziggy.
Well, and I think that's a little unfair. I think some of the starters this season, so far, at least from what I've seen, have gone much longer than they did last season. It feels like you're seeing guys go 6 more often now. Jacob Mizrowski's lasted longer in games. That may be because his pitch limit has increased a little bit in these ones. Brandon Woodruff is going deep almost every time he steps on the mound. I think they're pitching longer than they need to. The problem is that when you get to that 7th inning or later, when they're not going to be in that game unless they're throwing a no-hitter, unless they're throwing a perfect game, something crazy, then you're going to see this bullpen no matter what.
Do me a favor. Call up the Brewers schedule for me and tell me what the Brewers record is in the last 10 games. We know they're 3-3 in the last 6 because that's what they were on this last road trip. They should have been 4-2, if not 5-1, if we're being honest. So they were 3-3 on this road trip prior. So what were they the 4 games before this road trip began? That would get us to our last 10-game mark.
So the last 4 games, they were 2-2.
Okay, so they're 5-5 in the last 10. This is from the Brewers notes. I'm not making this up. Brewers notes right here in front of me. Brewers starters have a 2.24 ERA in the last 10 games with 4 quality starts. That's 6 innings, 3 earned runs, while holding opponents to a 185 batting average. And they are 5-5 with their starters pitching that well. That can't happen.
Those guys are doing their job. It's the fact that the bullpen, like we're talking about, is blowing games late. And then the offense, like Tim Allen and Tommy were screaming about on the postgame show yesterday, can't hit a home run to save their life.
Yep.
Like nobody gets power in this lineup. And then the bullpen just lets other teams rake them.
Correct. And this is where I'm at. I'm not ready to throw up red flags and go, oh my gosh, trade for a closer, get a new setup guy, blow this bad boy up. It's not going to work. I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not there because, number one, there's a track record, right? We have a track record with McGill in Milwaukee as a closer. Now, that does not mean that closers can flame out, hit a wall, and it'd be over. Happened to Derek Turnbow. We saw it, right? He just hit a wall and it was all done. And then done in the league, it was over. So that can happen. We've seen it happen. I don't think it's happened to McGill. So McGill should just go back into being the closer role, quit screwing around, and let's just fix it. Uribe goes back into his 8th inning role, which is where he belongs. And then Zerpa is the 7th inning until Koenig comes back. And then you could rotate those 2 guys of who pitches the 6th or the 7th or whatever. Put them all back into their same roles. And then let's see what happens kind of moving forward here. I have all the belief in the world that Chris Hook can help this. I'm going to tell you my concern.
What's that?
Gary Sanchez. That's my concern. And they made 2 moves today that we talked about in the last hour. Shane Drowan is coming up to pitch, which is fine. Everybody loved him in spring training. And they're calling up Tyler Black to come up, first baseman, outfielder. He's been playing outfield in Nashville, so he'll probably be an outfielder here. Matos designated for assignment. He's out of here. Carlos Rodriguez sent down. I would like to see what this looks like with Carroll. I know it didn't go well with Carroll when he got called up here the last time, but he was put with another guy, another young guy like him, and they were destined to be a failure and doom. What I would do, they're not going to do it now because it's Woodruff, but the next time Woodruff pitches, Carroll's coming up, and Greg Jones and whoever can be gone, and let him come in and catch Woodruff going forward. Contreras, you're catching 4. He's catching Woodruff, and we move. And the reason why it's Woodruff is because I want a vet who knows how to call his own game. He doesn't need the young dude to do anything special. I'll shake you off until you're right, and we're going to go together, and we'll talk in between innings, and I'll help you figure out how to do this. Meanwhile, Contreras, you got all the young dudes. You got Harrison, you got Sproat, you got the rest of these cats. When Priester comes back, then Carroll can have Priester or Woodruff, because I think Priester learned a lot last year. But otherwise, we're going forward with Contreras moving forward. And I like Woodruff because Woodruff, from a pitching perspective of keeping low pitch numbers to get farther into games, is the best on the staff still. Even at where he is velocity-wise and age-wise, he still gets deeper regularly than the rest of these guys. So I like that idea too. Carroll doesn't have to worry about a whole bullpen of having to manage guys. If he gets through 6 or 7, he always got to get through 2 innings. And at that point, if you want to bring Contreras in for the last inning or 2, you can if it's a close game. And if it's not, then Carroll just finishes it. That's what I would do next if I were the Milwaukee Brewers, Charlie.
I just think that then creates problem was when this team starts to get healthy, though. And I guess, like, you could say trade Gary Sanchez. Like, that probably wouldn't be that bad of an option if you're at that point, because he's so hot right now that once you get healthy, you get some of these other guys back in the rotation, the Andrew Vaughns, the Jackson Churios, Christian Yelich. That doesn't really leave a lot of room for him. Send him to the Mets bring Devin Williams back, bring somebody in to help this bullpen that can come in and be a part of this group. I just think that if you do that, that ends Gary Sanchez's role with the Milwaukee Brewers, which you just can't do right now because nobody else in this team can hit.
No, Gary Sanchez is a designated hitter. I'm not cutting Gary Sanchez.
But when Christian Yelich comes back, like, he's not in that role. And then when Andrew Vaughn comes back, he's not in a backup first base role then either.
Hold on. We'll cross that bridge when we get to that bridge. I'm just trying to get us to getting Yelich and Churios and Vaughn back.
We were talking about when Priester comes back.
Until then, yes, Priester's going to come back at the same time these other guys are going to come back.
Exactly. So then we got to talk about these other guys too and what that affects
when we get to that point. We'll address it. I'm not worrying about next month in 4 weeks or 5 weeks or however long it takes for all these guys to get back. I simply am looking at how do we win games as quickly as possible and eliminate Sanchez from catching. Again, that's all I'm saying. And he may be a great catcher.
He's done pretty well in the challenges as a catcher so far.
Yeah, that's fine. But I would prefer it be Contreras moving forward, if at all possible, especially with the young guys. And again, the starting pitching is doing its job. Like, you've just got to figure out the back end and the bullpen. Some of that is Chris Hook. Some of that is the guys. If some of it is the fatigue, like Ziggy is saying, I don't think there's an answer to that, because as Charlie pointed out, these guys aren't going to pitch 7 innings every time. Like, that's just not going to be a thing.
They're doing better than they did last year. You got to be happy with it.
If you want to save those guys, then the offense needs to score a bunch of runs and not put them in a position where they got to use McGill every night. Put them in a position where they don't got to use Uribe every night. As is, I feel like Aaron Ashby and lately DL Hall are pitching like every freaking game, Charlie.
It does. Well, and those guys kind of have to, because when you get into the bottom of this bullpen, you get scared sometimes. But it also helps and stops letting these guys be as scared if you can drive in some of the 10 left on base that it feels like they have every single game, or not ground into double plays at the end of innings whenever they have guys in scoring position. It just feels like those things continue, and that doesn't help the bullpen either.
So that was Let's Talk About the Crew. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Bring your cravings. Wendy's will bring the rewards. Download the Wendy's app today and start earning rewards. Wendy's Rewards is fast, free, and full of flavor. Get 200 bonus reward points and a free 10-piece nugs just for signing up. Earn points on every order and trade them for fries, burgers, and more. Earn free eats faster than you can say fresh, never frozen. Loyalty has never tasted so good. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen over there, other side of the glass. Don't forget, coming up tonight, Green Bay Football Draft Show. Charlie Usen and myself, 6 o'clock, powered by Steam Fitters, Local 601, baby. You know what the growing trend I feel like is? Of kids that are, I don't know, 18, 19, 20.
What's that?
Dude, everybody's going into the trades, man. Like, it's not even remotely close. My 19-year-old, every one of his friends is in the trades. He's like the old, no, take that back. There's one other kid that goes to Minnesota. 2 of his friends are in college, or him and another guy are in college. The rest of his friend group are all in trades. It's just nuts.
I have a couple friends that went into trades after going to school too. Like, people are going to school still and then deciding, hey, this is probably the better path.
My 21-year-old is with Steam Fitters Local 601, and he went straight in from high school. I'm just saying, like, that seems to be a very, very popular thing and a very smart move, if you ask me as well. So again, Steam Fitters Local 601, thanks for their support for the draft show. Coming up tonight, starting at 6 o'clock. It's 3:20. It's 20 minutes earlier than we normally do this, but that's because we have Alan True from Rivals on to tell us all about the 4-star quarterback verbal commitment the Badgers got today. That'll come up at 3:40.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, where are we going first?
All right, so first up, we're going to hear from the World Series managers from last season, John Schneider and Dave Roberts, and they were discussing strategy in the World Series and something that John Schneider did that paid off okay for him moving forward.
That's a question. I know you don't want to put anybody on base.
Right, especially with your lineup.
With our lineup. But was there any thought to he's pitching the next day and just kind of tax him? And
I was hoping he was going to steal everything.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. It was just like, okay, I'm going to get him out on the bases. And yeah, there's a little bit of that too.
Truth be told, he likes being on base, obviously. And he was exhausted, which bled into the next day, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. When we knew we were getting him game 7 too, kind of on short rest. I don't know how he does what he does. For one, I've watched him and you see him kind of go through his process of getting ready to pitch and then getting ready to hit. And then he's on base a lot. Then he's running. He's unbelievable first, third, stealing bases. So part of it was, yeah, man, I just don't want to see you swing right now. And maybe we can get you tired for tomorrow.
It worked.
Yeah, it's the first time I've said it publicly.
And we were talking about that, and it was like, this brilliant. I asked him after that 18 a.m., I go, hey, man, are you good to go tomorrow? And he's like, I'm pitching. But he did his IVs and left, but it just wasn't sharp, and because he was exhausted.
Ohtani is the subject there in that conversation. I don't think I have a good answer. I mean, we can talk about him trying to tire him out before his start the next day, and we can talk about all that stuff. This dude is best baseball player I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, you could do whatever you want. And if you think that's going to affect him pitching the next day, then by all means, do what you got to do. Maybe set off the fire alarms in his hotel. Maybe try and give him some food. Maybe has some food poisoning going on. I mean, you could try all that stuff and try and get him out of his rhythm. Try to maybe get him sick, whatever. Dude is so good that I don't think it matters. I guess food poisoning, I guess that potentially could have him throwing up all night and potentially not let him pitch, I guess, at some point. I mean, we've heard about that, right? We've heard of people in hotels trying to food poison the other team, so they get a bunch of players sick so they can't play the next day. It's not unheard of in this world of sports that crap happens. But he's just so good. Like, I don't know.
Do you think like a manager has a better chance at nullifying a Shohei Ohtani by doing what like John Schneider's doing and trying to find ways within the game to tire him out, ways to kind of turn him down that way, or do what Craig Counsell did and just basically come out and say the rules are stupid? I think this is dumb that he's getting treated more like a king than everybody else. Like, which of those managers has a better chance of slowing down Shohei Ohtani?
Well, obviously, Craig Counsell talking does nothing. So obviously, it's the Schneider way. But realistically, you're not stopping this dude. The only way you're stopping him is if he's hurt. He physically cannot play and he's on the IL, then you won. But if he's playing, regardless of what you think you're doing, you're not stopping this guy. The guy's an absolute beast, man. Just accept for what it is. You are managing against probably the greatest baseball player that we've ever seen. Like, that's just what it is. And it's okay.
And your job as a manager is to try to figure out ways to try and slow him down. Just like when people played against Michael Jordan. Man, good luck. My 10-year-old was playing yesterday, apparently at recess or whatever, against I think it was a fill-in teacher or something that's younger. And was talking crap to said teacher because that's what he does. And he beat him. I don't know what they were playing, Lightning or something. And he goes, if I beat you again, you have to admit Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time. Like, that has to happen. And he did. And the guy did not want to admit it because he's a LeBron James guy, and it's a thing. But when people were playing against Michael Jordan, same thing. When people were playing against LeBron James in his prime, same thing. People playing against Kobe or Shaq in their prime, same thing. Like, they're going to get theirs. I don't care what you do. They're going to figure out a way to put up big points. Now, sometimes, like the Joker last night, you can contain and you can slow down and create a problem. But for the most part, when you're talking about Hall of Fame players and potentially the greatest to ever play their sport, does not matter. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to head on over to the Dan Le Batard show, where he and his crew were discussing the Jailblazers documentary on Netflix and why he felt like it was unsatisfying.
There's just a lot missing from the story. They're called the Jailblazers, and Bob Wizzett, their former general manager, points out correctly, there have only been 3 teams in NBA history that really have a moniker. It's the Showtime Lakers, it's the Bad Boy Pistons, and it's the Jailblazers. But I left that documentary feeling unsatisfied as an example, they didn't really even tackle the racial component of what was happening in Portland. Like, they skipped right past it.
Well, Bonzi said as much in his interview with us. It's like, hey, we wanted to make this doc, so we made it. And it's like, yeah, it's only going to be looking very, very good on their end with nothing really to push back on.
The reason everybody wanted to make the Jailblazers documentary for the last 10 years is to tell the truth, not just to tell the story that you have access to the players so they'll sit down with you. Like, you want the whole truth, not just their truth.
That's not true. I mean, that's nice that he looks at it that way. But the Jordan thing that he did, that was Jordan's point of view. That wasn't all the Bulls' point of view. The Last Dance, that was from Jordan's perspective.
You got Scotty's point of view. You got Dennis Rodman, they talked to other people that had negative opinions about Michael Jordan within that documentary.
I watched that whole documentary, and I am telling you, that was about as Jordan-esque as possible. That was not necessarily the way that whole thing was. And that's okay. Jerry Krause is dead, so couldn't interview him. Nothing he can do to defend himself at this point. So we just are going to pile on as much as he can, being Michael Jordan. And I got no issues with Michael Jordan. But again, my point is, you get a player or a group of players that want to run a documentary, and you got directors and producers salivating at how much money they can make off of this. They do not care what angle isn't covered or isn't covered, because people are just going to tune in because it was their favorite team, or tune in because there was drama around that team, regardless of what's told in it. They just want people to buy the documentary or watch the documentary in droves, so then they make a bunch of money off of it. They don't care about the rest of this stuff.
But that's frustrating because it feels like not too long ago, people wanted a documentary to have longevity to it too. And when you do it like this, yes, you can make money off of it, but it's not going to be one that sticks in people's minds. It's going to be one that they forget about because it's going to get overshadowed by other ones that are better.
I'm obviously not in Portland, nor are you, so I have no idea what the Portland people think and how long people will talk about this in Portland. In Milwaukee, who cares? It's the Trailblazers. But there, will people be talking about that for a long time? Maybe. I have no idea. I mean, just a bit outside. We're going to talk about it in Milwaukee, this Euchre documentary. We're going to talk about it here in Milwaukee. Is anybody else going to talk about it around the country? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. All right, what's next?
All right, and last up here, we're going to head over to the Phoenix Suns and their press conference from a couple nights ago, where Devin Booker was discussing the technical foul that he received, even though he never got an explanation for why he received it.
I still haven't got one. It's definitely something that has to be looked into. I heard Caruso tell him to call the tech, and, he ended up doing it. So, that's one ref. In my 11 years, I haven't called a ref out by name, but James was terrible tonight, through and through. It's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE, if they're not held responsible.
Okay. I'm sorry. Poor Devin Booker didn't have the calls go his way, and in his mind, they got screwed. The owner of the team at Ishaba quote tweeted that presser that was all over yesterday. And we had it scheduled, but we only had like a 45-minute show, so we never got to it. and supported Devin Booker and went at the referees as well. There were others that were suggesting that the referees in the playoffs should have to also have a press conference, that they also should have to talk to the media after the game to address anything that potentially came up. Number one, if that were to be something that happens, they will get paid significantly more money than they do already. I'm just telling you right now. And I know it's not the fans' money. Who cares? But it's going to come out of that pool, big, gigantic pool of money the NBA has. So I don't know what the average NBA guy makes. They're all making six figures, would be my guess. So they're all going to get what, an additional $100,000 a year from what they're making now or something like that. If they have to go and deal with the media on top of this for every game of a playoff series and then into the NBA finals to go along with it. And now you're really going to publicize everything about these guys. Yeah, that's going to take a big leap financially for the NBA to pay these guys if they want these guys to go do that.
Between 180,000 and 550,000 is the current estimate for NBA referee salaries.
So now you're talking about these guys are already making six figures. So now that number is going to be like, I don't know, 280, 300,000 maybe to 600,000 or 700,000 in order to do it. Do you make all of them go do this press conference? Does only the head guy have to go do the press conference? I would make all of them go. There's three refs.
You're all set up there. Yeah. Like all the players.
You're right.
Yeah.
All three go up there and answer questions from the media if they have questions. Now, again, in some playoffs, there might not be any questions. Everybody's like, we're good. Don't need them tonight. You don't have to have them come out. And then they don't have to come out if the media doesn't have any questions. The PR staff of the home team just goes to the media pool and says, okay, does anybody have questions tonight? It could be one big group text. Does anybody have questions? I've got one. All right, sounds good. I'll bring them out. And then everybody's like, nope, I'm good. Nope, I'm good. Okay. And then we don't have to bring them out and they don't got to deal with the media.
I think the players should have to always go out first too before the referees so that the reporters can ask questions from the players to the referees too.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I've got no issue with that whatsoever. But I'm not allowing the players into the media room to ask the questions themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say that at first. And I was like, no, that's probably not going to end well.
No, we're not letting them in the media room. But the writers themselves, they can ask the questions. That I have no problem with. Coming up next, Alan True from Rivals will tell us all about the brand new 4-star commitment quarterback on the Green Bay Packers. The Wisconsin Badgers just nailed down today as he verbally commits. And again, there's some lineage there with his daddy playing quarterback for the Badgers. We'll tell you all about that coming up next. Step up to the plate and take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. April through June, you can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of three. I can't talk today. All new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. Alan True's next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Usen producing today's show. Still to come on today's show, we'll get our Green and Gold update coming up here at 4 o'clock, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Looking forward to that. We'll just simply talk about who do we all want? Who do we all want? John in Milwaukee is texted multiple times trying to tell me and Charlie who he wants. I see your text. We will read them, I promise. Coming up at 4 o'clock, and we're just going to ask you, who do you want? Speaking of that, want to know what bumper music you want starting May 1st. Text in your music nominations. It's got to have the artist or group and then whatever song that you may want. I prefer up-tempo because we're coming out of breaks, so I don't want to put us to sleep like a specific song that we had in the last group.
Robert Miles.
No. Might ban Robert Miles from the show. So yes, preferably upbeat song. So nominate your group. You have until 5 o'clock to nominate somebody. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. I'm going to tell you about my friends over there at Habush and Rotier, because we have Plead the Fifth coming up at 4:20 like we do each and every Friday. Habush and Rotier has been helping injured Wisconsinites for nearly 100 years, since 1930. 13 different locations around the state of Wisconsin, and known for their hometown service, backed by a national reputation. Now, the national reputation is great. They've won a lot of cases. They have record-breaking wins in Wisconsin as well, state wins on top of that. But the biggest thing as far as all of this goes is you want somebody that you can trust and somebody that's going to make you feel comfortable about them representing you. I could kind of compare it to going to a doctor, right? You go to a doctor for the first time, you walk out of the office and you're like, yep, not going back to that one ever again. I'm going to have to find somebody else. And it's done. And that doctor, in their minds, guy or girl, may not have thought they did anything wrong, but personalities didn't mesh. They didn't make you feel like you were welcome. They were very brazen, whatever. That can happen. Well, the same thing can happen when you're going to a lawyer or you're going to a mechanic to work on your car or whatever the case may be. A lot of times it's do I get along with the person? Do I trust the person, right? That's what you want. And that's what the hometown service part of this means. They want to make sure you're comfortable and that you know they're going to do their very best and work very hard to get you what you deserve after you've been injured in a car accident or something of the sort. Give them a try today. Habush.com for more information. Or maybe you're not going through something, but a friend of yours is, or a family member, or something like that, or somebody at work. Like, hey, my guy Sparky's talking about this Habush, and Rotier all the time. Maybe you should go to them. Habush.com. Habush and Rotier, national reputation and hometown service. We are not being able to connect with Alan True right now, which is not a big deal. On the talking text line, y'all, I'm just going to help you out here. I can't play 2 Live Crew on the radio, especially not the song somebody just requested.
Just suggested. There might be one song that we could find that might work, but not that one.
No, I mean, let's just really think about this for a second. We've got to have some family appropriate music.
Maybe one day the FCC will change. It'll loosen its grip on us. But right now we gotta stay. We gotta stay at a kind of limit here.
Yeah, no, can't happen. Like if Charlie is playing the music, he's like, and there's swearing, I'm out. Right? I mean, they got to be songs that make sense at this point for us to be able to play. I guess I should have been more specific. We didn't have this for the first group of nominations.
No, we didn't.
But but the listeners change, exactly. Right? You have new listeners.
People get more confident in their music taste, maybe. They want to share out a little bit more. I get it.
You have no idea one way or the other of what you can and cannot nominate. It's not satellite radio. If it was satellite radio, we could play anything on the air. All right, so we wanted to get Alan True on to talk about Jack Sorgi, 2027 quarterback commit. Now, obviously, do remember he is the son of former Badgers quarterback Jim Sorgi. And this is an interesting one for me because Jack Sorgi initially committed to Louisville. Now, this is a 4-star kid, okay? This isn't a 3-star kid that had some interest, but not from any of the major schools. This is a legitimate 4-star recruit that had interest from big programs from around the country. And I am really wanting to know how much they had to pay.
Like, that's where I'm at now. Like, if we would have done this 5 years ago, money never even comes up. I don't even think twice about it. Maybe there was money involved 5 years ago. I don't know. But there definitely was never a question at that point. But now, since we're getting the state to essentially help out the Badgers with like $14 million every year, since that all went down, now I am interested in knowing, okay, so how much did we have to pay to get Sorgi? Are we paying him $1 million a year in order to land the 4-star recruit? Because going rate is like $1 million a year for a starting quarterback in college football, which he will not be, I don't think, in 27, because the way Luke Fickell works is we go get transfer portal guys. We don't develop our own. So I highly doubt. That's the other part about this is with Luke Fickell. If Luke Fickell stays, why would I have any faith that he can develop anybody at the quarterback position when he's never even attempted to do it at this point?
No, and even the guys that he's brought in, like all of them have been put into systems in the first place that haven't really seemed like they fit that quarterback's play style, and then B, they get hurt every single time. So you don't really even get a chance to see him develop a quarterback. But when they are in those systems, it doesn't feel like they're those guys that are elevating the team to that next level. Like you're seeing in basketball, when you get the same kind of players coming in there, they elevate the teams almost immediately. The baseline rate for a Power 4 quarterback signing is, according to The Athletic and a Power 4 personnel staffer, is roughly between $100,000 to $300,000. 5-star quarterbacks typically get between $750,000 and $1 million annually, according to three industry sources.
So he's 4. So based on that, it should be less than $750,000.
So probably closer to that $300,000 number range.
And he gets his school paid for.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have to pay
more
for
than
school.
His school paid for. Yeah, he gets like 10 straight terms of school paid for, basically.
Right.
That's pretty nuts for a guy who's 17 years old, going to be 18 here pretty soon. Like, that's a lot of money to just stuff into your bank account out of nowhere, man.
Ain't nothing wrong with that whatsoever, right? From his perspective.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, some of the positives about this dude, obviously he can sling the ball, right? We got no worry about that. Footwork appears to be pretty good too. The one thing that I'm interested in is how much, obviously, is he able to get out and run? That's the thing. Like, he's not Colton Joseph. Let's just use him. That's going to be the starting quarterback this year that they got in the transfer portal from Dominion. He ain't going to be that guy. He ain't going to run around and do that. His daddy might actually have had more mobility than his son has in Jim Sorgi. So that, I think, is a concern based on how this current staff wants to play with that quarterback. That necessarily is one thing that has to be concerned about. As far as arm strength go, not the strongest arm that you're necessarily going to find, but it appears he can make all the throws. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I sat there and watched Sorgi play and know exactly everything about him. I'm not. I'm just simply reading like the rest of us are doing to see how good he is. Now, with this commit from Sorgi, he technically doesn't fit into the category of an in-state guy, right? He's not that. But he does have a connection to the Badger program, which is great. They're in the top 15 right now for that 2027 recruiting class. This current group that they have that's going to play this year in the transfer portal was a top 25 class in the transfer portal class. Dare I say that they are starting to potentially turn a corner in Wisconsin, do we think, Charlie? Or do we think this just all happened to fall the right way with this class, with all these kids being from Wisconsin and them actually giving a crap and going after them?
I think it's a good step forward. I think it's definitely getting somewhere for this university. At the same time, like we've talked about in the past, if the class isn't nearly as good next year as it is this year, does he still stay in Wisconsin? Does he go to Illinois first? Does he go to Michigan first? Does he start around there and then have his couple of guys in Wisconsin just kind of stick around? I mean, if you tune into College Sports Weekly from 9/11 right here on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network on Saturday mornings with Don Wachillis and Dan Underberg, we were talking about this last week too, and I brought up that concern because we were talking about the fence that Barry Alvarez had built around Wisconsin and how Luke Fickell seems like he's starting to kind of build that up a little bit. And Don and Dan both seemed pretty sure that with the right athletic director, the right system on top of Luke Fickell going into this upcoming football season, that he will be able to continue to build that fence, and that this isn't a fluke for the talent in the state of Wisconsin, that the talent in the state of Wisconsin is only going to get better moving forward here, hopefully, and that Luke Fickell can stay and keep getting guys to stay.
Well, there's going to be pressure on him once there's a new athletic director in place. That was the other thing we wanted to talk to Alan True from Rivals about when we had him on here in this segment, which was any idea on potential athletic directors from other schools that may be interested in coming and taking this job at Wisconsin. I've told you numerous times I want Jamie Pollard from Iowa State. I believe he is from Wisconsin as well. Obviously, TJ Otzelberger is the head coach over there. With all due respect to Greg Gard, I would be interested in what Otzelberger could bring to the table at Madison to go along with that. Now, here are the current recruiting class for the Badgers, okay? If we just look at it from that perspective. Hunter Mallinger, offensive tackle, 3-star guy. Ethan McIntosh, 3-star guy. Now, again, this is ESPN. This is not Rivals. They all have different recruiting rankings. So, like Jack Sorgi on Rivals is 4 stars. On ESPN, he is 3 stars. On ESPN, he is the 12th ranked quarterback in the class for 2027, which is still pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take that. You haven't been able to get that in Wisconsin in a while. Yeah,
correct. Dustin Roach, another one that is a safety, 3 stars. Reese Mallinger, guard from Sussex, 3 stars as well. 4 stars, according to ESPN, Kingston Allen, the running back from Green Bay. He's a 4-star guy. From Germantown, Cole Ryder, and Course Loken, the tight end from Iola, also 4 stars. So based on ESPN's reports, they have 2 4 stars. Kingston Allen, not a 4-star, so I take that back. So 2 4 stars. The rest are 3 stars. Now, if you take those rankings and then you go look over at Rivals, you will see they have more 4 stars than what ESPN is giving them credit for. Plus, you have On3 recruiting, so you have their recruiting rankings, so it's all different. But again, if you look at this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in this class are from Wisconsin at this point. The only one not is Jack Sorgi, a son of a former Badger quarterback. So really, they kept it all in-house, Charlie, and that's a big deal. Now, when the next athletic director comes in, him and Luke Fickell will have to share the same vision. Will the new athletic director be from the family of Barry Alvarez from past years? Will it be somebody with a new direction? A new vision of how that person did it somewhere else and want to duplicate what they did somewhere else and go away from Badger tradition of what they do? That we still have to wait and see.
It's going to be interesting. I think they have a lot of options. I think the reign of Barry Alvarez is kind of starting to come to an end a little bit, maybe not by his choice, but it just seems like they're starting to step away from what it used to be and trying to kind of set their own mentality. I don't know. I think you still have to kind of bring him in and talk to him about some of these things and let him have an opinion, but maybe not make the choice.
JB in the 920 said Jim Sorgi was a pro for a while, limited tools. This could be exciting. Sorgi was a backup quarterback in Indy for a while. Sorgi was in Indy backing up Manning in Indianapolis. You can say whatever you want about backup quarterbacks. They make millions.
They usually end up being pretty good coaches.
Yes.
Maybe to your son, you could have some input.
There are many coaches' kids that suck, for being honest. Like, they may not all be Division I, but most coaches' kids are practicing all the time with a coach that knows what the heck they're talking about, are normally one of the better players on the team. Now, eventually that all gets weeded out once you get up to the college level, but early on for certain. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Coming up next, Green and Gold Update Time, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Then it's Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish from Rotier. Then it's Follow the Money with Austin Herdenia. That's all coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is that time again, 4 o'clock hour. How are y'all doing? Hope y'all are well. Y'all are enjoying the Friday. The weekend is about here. 4 o'clock on a Friday. A lot of people are probably already done with work. If you're a salesperson, you've probably been done with work for a minute now, depending on who you are. Like our guy, sales guy Tom here, he never leaves early. Like he walks out at 5 o'clock every day, does not matter. He's over there busting his tail end, working hard right now, chatting with Charlie and I. So he's here working. Everybody else, I have no idea. I have no idea.
He just sits in the dark though sometimes.
But that's because of our sales guy Shannon, who started that nonsense on the sales floor. So I don't understand, man. Like I'm not a big have to have all the lights on. Like that drives me nuts because I don't want to spend all the money on electricity if I don't have to. So like when I leave our building at night, Charlie will tell you, I will walk around, turn all the lights off if there's nobody here after me, and I will do the same thing tonight because I'll be the last one here. Make sure all the lights are off, and then Charlie will come in and do Garbedian on golf tomorrow morning from 7 to 9, college sports weekly from 9 to 11. And then he'll leave at 11 o'clock and he may or may not turn off the TV.
I generally do.
Generally you do. Yes, absolutely. No question. Coming up this hour, Green and Gold update to hear momentarily. Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish and Rotier, comes up at 4:20. Still time for you to nominate somebody to tell the hush it up. Use the talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, or you can just call in during that segment. Follow the money with Austin Herdina comes up at 4:40. Were you able to connect with Mr. Herdina?
I was. Yep, he should be all good.
Can you ask Mr. Herdina why he doesn't text me back?
Yeah, sure.
Could you? Yeah, sure. I'm just messing with him. That comes up at 4:40, and of course, things that Sparky missed coming up before the end of the show. Well, and then at 5 o'clock, it's the leadoff show. Me filling in for Tommy Wirtz. Charlie Houston and I will do that, getting ready for Brewers baseball from 5 until 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, it's Green Bay Football Draft Show powered by Steam Fitters, Local 601. Taking right up to the Brewers game is over, and then after the last pitch, you make the switch. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and myself. That is what it looks like. We will have local and live radio today from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. straight through, no breaks, here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So if you're listening on the game in Wausau, loving life. If you're listening to WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton, loving life. The Fan in Milwaukee or the game in Duluth Superior, man, it's got a lot of stuff going on today, and we're keeping you up to date as best we can on all of it. Now it is 4 o'clock, so let's go.
It's time for your Green and Gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay. This is simple. You got rounds 2 and rounds 3 tonight in the NFL draft for the Green Bay Packers. I ask you, who do you want in the NFL draft tonight? That's what I would like to know. Who do you want tonight for the Packers in the NFL draft? Real simple. Now, you can comment, whether it's on Instagram Live that we're at right now at WI Sports Radio, or on X, or on YouTube like we always are. We're on Facebook, the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page, too. Comment, and we'll read those as we go here, too. Let's see. Oh, we got one from earlier at 3 o'clock from Paul, using Facebook Live, and it came through. We see it.
Does it show you? Because on mine, it still says it's YouTube that he's.
But it says I'm on Facebook now.
It does, but it's telling us that he's on YouTube.
So is Facebook connected to YouTube then?
I don't think so. I think they're two. Isn't it Meta and
Paul
Google?
Also nominated Kenny Loggins' "Mama Don't Dance" and "Your Daddy Don't Rock and Roll." That's a good song. I like that song.
That sounds like an old man song.
Nobody asked you to begin with. I don't even know why. Volunteering his opinion on a great song. That's all right. So who do you want tonight? You can also dial it up. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. From the 414, I know he is shorter than the Packers would want, and it's not likely, but dude made plays. I want Pons at 52. Pons is a couple inches taller than me, and I'm short at 5'6". Okay. So, yes, you are right. He is short. But yes, at Indiana, that dude was a flat out baller. However,
The Packers have been burned too many times in the history of the organization by small corners that simply cannot ball and get beat by taller receivers. Now, having said that, I don't feel like, and Charlie may disagree with me on this, I don't feel like we're in the era anymore of Herman Moore, Randy Moss, T.O., Michael Irvin, Elvin Harper. Like, we're not in that era where like every team's got like a 6'5" wide receiver. There are some out there, but they're not the prominent, dominant receivers like we were back when T-Buck was trying to cover all these cats and stuff like that. Now it feels like a lot of these guys are a little bit more in the range of 6'1", maybe 6'2", somewhere in that range. There's not as many 6'4", 6'5" guys. Now, in this draft class here, there's going to be several 6'4" to 6'6" guys, 6'3" to 6'6" guys that are probably going to get drafted tonight in rounds 2 and 3, and maybe the Packers will take one of them. But really, here in the last few years, you don't have a ton of guys that are dominant, really tall, big guys. Christian Watson is one when healthy, but there aren't Hall of Famers like I just rattled off.
And even then, he doesn't really play like a big guy. He plays like a smaller wide receiver, which I think is to his advantage. You see some of these other big wide receivers that do get drafted, and I think just the scouting report on some of these guys has changed so drastically since what you're talking about back in the 90s, early 2000s. You're seeing a lot of players who are smaller wide receivers.
You need to call Ryan Wood because we have Ryan Wood scheduled for right now. So he's going to call Ryan Wood and get Ryan Wood on. So we have Ryan Wood ready to go here. And we're going to get his take on who he thinks the Packers are going to take tonight or who he wants the Packers to take. Brian, South Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, I think with the second pick, they should try to, if there's one that is available and worthy of that slot, the best available cornerback. And then, with the number 3 pick, I just think you hate to say best available, but I mean, best available, but you can pool of like defensive lineman, offensive lineman, receiver, something in there. Whatever you're going to get your best value with that 3 pick, pick that one at 3.
So that's the third round.
Correct. Second round, I think best cornerback available. If there's a viable one there, and it seems like there are several there yet that are viable for that selection spot, I say you go out and you get that best one because you desperately need depth, if nothing else.
No doubt. I'm with you on that one, Brian. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. We had Jason Hirschhorn on earlier, and he was making the argument that there's still going to be good corners there in the third round. If they don't take one in the second, you could still get a good corner in the third. And because of how deep it is, they may roll over into the fourth round on day 3 tomorrow. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Our guy, Packers beat writer for the Green Bay Press Gazette. He does nothing but win awards. Got a whole room dedicated to all of his awards. He is Ryan Wood. Follow him on X by Ryan Wood. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Sparky. How are you?
I'm doing good. Why did they have you all at Lambeau yesterday for? I don't understand. I mean, the man wasn't going to trade his picks next year. He said that. There was no chance he was coming from 52. So why did we go through all this for?
Well, I'll give you the same answer that I gave Matt LaFleur last night because a little funny story. Me and my colleague Dominique Yates were watching the draft, the only two in the media auditorium, Matt LaFleur comes in, and obviously that whole area has been renovated. We are a new media office,
lavish
there, so he's coming in to check it out. I guess this is his first time seeing and it used to be the old team meeting room that's now the new media auditorium, and so I'm watching the draft, and I hear someone say, "We traded up." It was Matt LaFleur. He was obviously
messing around.
Joke, and the next thing that he said was that same thing. What are you even doing?
Yes.
And I told him, I was like, well, they gave us free food. There's free dinner. So I'm a journalist. We're not the deepest pockets. They say free food, we show up. That's why we were here. But no, basically, if Brian Gutekunst wanted to act like a drunken sailor and mortgage everything regarding this future draft capital of this team to get into that first round, I had to be there. But in the 99% chance that did not happen, there was really no reason. It was the free food, Sparky.
That's fine. At least you're honest. I like honesty. Honesty is good. We're streaming live now on Facebook, X, YouTube, Instagram Live, doing all that stuff. We started this week doing Facebook and Instagram Live. And we got one here from DMZ 1954 who says, I want best available.
You'll never, ever, 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 ever hear me say I want best available. I want maybe best available at the position that I want. Maybe we can go there. But just the whole best available, that always drives me nuts. And every GM is going to say that every year when that same GM is asked the question, best available or positional need. Having said that, looking at this draft, and I brought this up earlier when we were talking to Jason Hirschhorn, from the idea of defensive tackle, deep, don't need to do that in the second round. Cornerback, deep, don't need to do that in the second round, which then brings me to interior offensive line. Potentially, there's going to be a couple of really good players still on the board, and there's certainly going to be good wide receivers on the board there in the second round. If you were a betting man, which I know you are not, what position or positions do you think are most likely in the second?
Well, first of all, Sparky, you need to catch me at a blackjack table because I certainly like my blackjack.
Double down on 11.
You always split the aces. I always stand on 12 over 2. I've got my own wrinkles. So,
if you play with me, you would hate me because I double down on 12 every time.
Oh God, I would absolutely hate you. That'd be my. We would fight. That wouldn't go well.
That's why I don't sit at blackjack tables at Potawatomi. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So it's BPA is always a half truth. I mean, it's half true. You want the best player available, but the full truth is best player available at a value-based need.
Exactly.
Right. They're not. Think about what they could do tonight. There's only 2 positions that would just absolutely shock me in the second round. And that is quarterback and safety. There's no reason to draft it might be the best player available. You might think Carson Beck is the best player available at 52. You're not drafting quarterback, regardless if he's the best player available, right? Because you have Jordan Love. It's best player available at a value-based need. But the good thing there is that, and I give Brian Gutekunst credit for the way that he used free agency, and this is far from the first time, to set up the draft. Free agency covered a lot of contingencies. Okay, you're losing Quay Walker, so you trade Zaire Franklin. So you're pretty comfortable at Mike linebacker. You were trading Colby Wooden for Zaire Franklin, so you signed Javon Hargrave. You don't hit the compensatory pick formula. You've got that second all downs defensive tackle next to Devontae Wyatt, so you feel better at defensive line. You bring in a warm body that does not have near the egregious injury history of Nate Hobbs and Benjamin St. Juste. So you at least start to build the competition for that second corner spot opposite Keyshawn Nixon. Because of how he used free agency, there's a lot of areas where Brian Gutekunst can say, okay, this is best player available, and it helps our roster get better. It could be running back. It could be receiver. It could be tight end. It could be defensive tackle, corner, on down the line. There's all kinds of ways that this could go. Obviously, if it's corner and that's the best player available, that marries probably your biggest need. Certainly, if you look at the 2 deep, the one glaring starting job open right now is that second corner spot. It marries that with the best player available. That's the perfect world. But you do want to go best player available instead of just saying, okay, we need a corner no matter what our board tells us we're taking this position. You don't want to do that because then you start chasing. You got to bring in talent, but it's value-based need talent.
I'm not taking a tight end in the second round. I'm telling you that right. I have Tucker Kraft. I'm good at tight end. You want to take a tight end on day 3 somewhere to have depth behind Musgrave? Fine. I don't care about that. Running back, man, you just hook a running back and he can't stay healthy. So does that mean now you have to waste another pick on day 2 for another running back?
Yeah,
I love the kid from Arkansas. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan. Like, big dude, can fly, like, all about it. I just don't know if for what they have right now. Now, if you said, hey, we're going to go get a guard to compete against Belton, I should say, then I'd say, yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. Sure, let's see what that looks like. If you tell me we're going to go get a tall, long receiver, so, Reed and Golden, can play in the slot and go 4 wide, okay, or we're going to go get a tall, long wide receiver that can run because we don't think we can sign Christian Watson, okay, fine. I'm intrigued. Let's go. Let's do that. But there are certain positions. We're doing the draft show tonight, me and Charlie. I'm telling you right now, they go tight end or running back in round 2. I am not going to be a happy camper, Ryan Wood.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's the right philosophy, Sparky. And here's why. I got to make very, very clear. It better be your best player available. Like, it better be definitive. It's not close. But if running back is absolutely the best player you have evaluated on your board, and it's definitively better than the corner, and you're not bringing the best player available, then you're just doubling down on the mistake of drafting Marshawn Lloyd, which mistakes happen for everybody. In fact, this GM has been a lot better than most GMs when it comes to middle rounds. Marshawn Lloyd's a third-round pick that at this point looks like a wasted third-round pick. There's been a lot of hits rounds 2 through 4, 5 for Brian Gutekunst. That wasn't one. But you don't double down on the mistake. The best GMs move on and they don't compound it by just trying to hold on a little longer to what is proven to be a mistake. So if running backs defend, and I'm not saying this is a far-fetched hypothetical here, but if running back's the best player value talent on your board, it's definitive, and you don't take that, because there's a very real need for a second running back in this offense. Josh Jacobs is 28 years old.
Yep.
He has a ton of mileage. The injury started last season. Usually at that position, once they start and you have a lot of mileage, they don't stop. You want to make sure there's someone behind Josh Jacobs in that backfield. If that's your best player available, second round's not too early. It's best player available and bringing in the talent at a position that can help you.
He is Ryan Wood, Packers beat writer for the Green Bay Press Gazette. Follow him on X at @ByRyanWood during our Green and Gold update here. I Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. All right, you have a couple of guys that you would kind of like to see them take at 52. I don't remember if you are something that really gets into this draft or not.
I'm not. I'm not someone. Now, I do have a second-round mock-out, which I do every year, and you can find that at Packers News.
I retweeted it.
I haven't taken a corner. That is, for me, more than anything, just an exercise in really getting familiar with the path to 52, if that, in fact, is where the Packers make their first pick tonight. The reality is we have no idea how these guys are going to be as players. In any of these, first round 2, we have no idea, and I know we don't know, because frankly, they don't either. Like, the draft is so much guesswork, even when you are professional as a player talent evaluator. There's so much guessing. You don't know when they come into the building what kind of player they're going to become. You're projecting all of that. I think it's a fool's errand to fall in love with a prospect. He's the guy. You got to get this guy, because we have no idea. No one really knows. To me, does it make sense? Is it a logical approach here? Did they get a valuable prospect at an area that helps the roster?
I gotta cut you off. We got breaking news, and now you're gonna go have to write a story, and I screwed you by having you on our radio show, so I apologize. Dan in the 715, thank you. He texted the Nicolay Law Talking text line. Adam Schefter, wide receiver Jayden Reed and the Packers now have agreed to a 3-year contract extension worth $50.25 million in new money, including $20 million guaranteed per Drew Rosenhaus and Ian Grutman. And let me first start by saying that's insanity. My initial reaction is that's a gigantic overpay. Your initial reaction, Ryan Wood, finding out like I am.
Say the contract figures again for me.
3-year extension, $50.25 million in new money, including $20 million of that guaranteed.
So, God, this is live radio.
Live radio, baby. This is how we do it.
What's the annual average salary there? That's somewhere less than 20, right?
No, it's like 16 million, 17 million a year.
No, that's not an overpay at all.
16.6.
That's a very fair deal. And it goes in line with a point that I wrote about earlier this week, which was, okay, if you were to go to Brian Gutekunst a week ago and say, hey, here, you want a first-round pick? Of course he's going to tell you yes. Of course you prefer a first-round pick. But if you're going to take a first-round pick away from a GM, there are worse to take it away from than Brian Gutekunst, because Jayden Reed, second-round pick. You forecast that 2023 draft out, he was a lot more likely to get a second contract with the Packers than Lucas Van Ness. I wrote about it earlier this week. So this is a GM that, again, his sweet spot is rounds 2 through 4. This is just more proof to that. I think Jayden Reed since his rookie year, he has proven to be a top playmaker from the slot. He got hurt last year. They're obviously expecting him to be healthy. You hope he's healthy. But in terms of playmaking, sub $20 million annually, that's a fine deal for the Packers.
I went on Spot Track to go look. Romeo, on average per year, and Charlie did the math, 16.6.
Romeo Dobbs, $17 million. Rashid Shaheed, $17 million. Cooper Kupp, $15. Now, this is for the 26th season. Cooper Kupp, $15 million. Mike Evans, $14.1. Khalil Shakir, $13.2. Other side of that, Jerry Jeudy, $17.5. Michael Pittman Jr., $17.5. Wan'Dale Robinson, $17.5. Jacoby Myers, $20. So this puts him in the top 30 as far as paid wide receivers go in the National Football League. What, if anything, do you think this means for Christian Watson?
I think there should still be enough room to extend Christian Watson. I put him in a different tax bracket as sub 20. The reality is that Christian Watson stays healthy, and he might be a guy that bets on himself this year. Because if he stays healthy, plays all 17 games, and produces like he did coming back off that torn ACL last year, the market says that he's going to be a $30 million a year receiver. They should, the way that the soft cap is, there's all kinds of financial flexibility. I imagine if he proves to be that guy, that's what the market says. He's still in the running to get extended here. This deal does not preclude that one.
Does this change anything as far as potentially drafting a receiver on day 2?
No, I don't think it does. The reason being, you need depth, and I think the top of this depth chart is actually in a better shape than it was when they had Romeo Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks, because the reality for this passing game, they've had too many mouths to feed for 2 or 3 years now. They brought all these guys in at once, and they placated all of them, or they tried to at the same time. There's only one football. So narrowing and funneling down roles in the passing game is a step in the right direction. Sometimes less is more. But as Brian Gutekunst, I asked Brian Gutekunst this directly at the start of the week. Are you happy there's fewer mouths to feed? And he made it, look, you still need depth. And so it doesn't hit the depth having Jayden Reed extended. There is, if they can bring in a talent, a best player available type situation when you're on the clock that improves your depth, I think that they can still benefit from that.
Right now, it's Jayden Reed, Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Will Shepard, Savion Williams, Sky Moore, Bo Melton, Isaiah Nair, and Jacoby Keeney James. That's what that wide receiver room looks like right now. How comfortable are you if that's what it looks like in week 1?
It's a solid starting 5. You've got your top 5 there. Savion Williams being wide receiver 4, Bo Melton being wide receiver 5. Which, as wide receiver 5s go, Bo Melton's just fine. He's a wide receiver 5 on a 53-man roster is a guy that you're looking to predominantly for special teams. Bo Melton's played a lot of football. If you need him in a pinch for a week here, week there to have an extended role, he can deliver that. You're not asking wide receiver 5s to be your go-to playmaker week in and week out, but they don't need Bo Melton to be that. It's a good top 5. The problem is if there's an injury there, then the depth chart's down to 4. Where are you getting that extra depth? Because it's a big drop off after those first 5. That's why it wouldn't surprise me if they added a receiver to give themselves 6 and to pad the depth.
Jayden Reed and the Packers again from Adam Schefter. 3-year contract extension worth $50.25 million in new money, including $20 million guaranteed. Drew Rosenhaus does it again. We looked at that group. So you're putting him in the same group as, say, Romeo Dobbs with the money that he is making, just under Romeo Dobbs. And then Ryan Wood says it's good. It doesn't seem as bad once we start talking about the receivers in that same group of money to me anymore. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy the food and enjoy the draft tonight.
All right, take care.
Take care. There he is, Ryan Wood. We got lucky there. That was good timing.
Yeah, that worked out.
That was good timing. Follow him on X at @ByRyanWood. That was our Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We tell you about my friends over there at Wendy's. Always got something cooking. And Wendy's really outdid themselves with these new biggie deals at $4, $6, and $8. The new biggie deals are bigger and biggier than ever. If you're feeling something snacky, you can get the $4 Biggie Bites. Feeling something medium? Get yourself a $6 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. If you want to go full biggie, who doesn't? You could get the $8 Biggie Bundle with your choice of 2 sandwiches, a small soft drink, and a junior fry. The choice is yours. For a pretty biggie deal, it's got to be Wendy's. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using over there. Time to plead the fifth. Line them up. Who do you want to call on? Who do you want to go shh to? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Also can use that same number to nominate who you want to hear in our bumper music rotation starting on May 1st. Need the artist and the song, and it has to be in before 5 o'clock. You have until 5 o'clock, 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie Using, producing today's show. Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. Always got some cool stuff going on over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Step up to the plate, take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through June, you can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. It is that time. Let's go.
It's a Plead the Fifth Friday, sponsored by Habish and Rotier. Who should have just kept their mouth shut? Who made a bad decision commenting on a topic they shouldn't have? Let's hear who you think should plead the fifth this week on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Before we get to this, thanks to Habish and Rotier for being sponsor. Good people. A 920 nominating bumper music. Not sure if this is allowed for bumper music. Poison, Ride the Wind. Keep up the good content on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Sparky and Charlie from the 920. I do not know that song, but Charlie will go through and see what the music is like. Again, there's no swearing and no lewd lyrics like Two Live Crew was nominated earlier. It'll be fine. It's just a classic rock, classic
this
metal
one looks
song.
Okay. Yeah, I'm reading through
fine.
the lyrics right now.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, so it should be fine, 920. No worries about that. All right, time to nominate somebody for Plead the Fifth. This is how it works. You can call in, you can text in. It can be a host on the station, a producer on the station. It can be any member in sports media, in the sports landscape. It can be your mama, your daddy, your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa. Doesn't matter to me. All I need to know is who you're nominating and why you're nominating them to keep their mouth shut, because you don't know what you're talking about and you're getting yourself in trouble. Like Kendrick Perkins, you would think would be the leader in the clubhouse. Instead, it's Brandon Snide from 9 to noon. That tends to be the leader in the clubhouse. And he is going to join us on our Green Bay football draft show coming up tonight, starting at 6 o'clock. He'll be on at 20 after 6 tonight to preview the Packers and what he wants the Packers to do. So looking forward to having him on Green Bay football draft show, brought to you by, of course, Steam Fitters Local 601 from 6 until the Brewers game is done tonight here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Okay, Plead the Fifth. I'm going to go back on our talk and text line here because there was a nomination early on in the very, very early on show from the 414 that says you'll probably have a segment on it, but Mike Vrabel should definitely be on Plead the Fifth if he isn't already.
How don't they read my mind? My first nomination for Plead the Fifth is Mike Vrabel addressing the media ahead of the draft yesterday.
I want to address the news regarding my current situation. I understand that there are questions, but I take accountability for my actions and the actions that caused a distraction to the people that I care most about. My family, this football team, the organization, and our fans. My previous actions don't meet the standard that I hold myself to. They don't. And what I believe is best for the two most important things in my life, my family and this football team, is for us to take the necessary steps to work together and to give them what I told them I'd give them, which is the best version of me. And that's what we're going to do. And that's going to start, that has started, that'll continue this weekend, and it'll continue for however long it takes for me to give them and to complete that promise of giving them the best version of me possible. And that's what's going to happen, and that's what's been happening.
Said nothing. He said nothing. I heard this yesterday. He said absolutely
There's
nothing.
2 more minutes beyond that where he says nothing.
No, he said nothing. Like he didn't comp to doing anything with her. He didn't apologize to his wife if anything did happen. He kept it as generic as possible. This is the problem. First off, we didn't talk about this on this show at all during the entire run until the day that Diana Rossini gave her resignation and tweeted out her resignation letter. We read that on the air. And that's been the only time we've talked about it.
That's it. Because it's their personal life. I don't give a crap if they're sleeping around on their wives or husbands or whatever. That's their deal. That ain't our damn business. Like, I know they're public figures, so you get put in the spotlight and all that. Whatever. Here's the issue, though. Like, they both can try and sweep this under the rug and tell their significant others that, oh, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was innocent. Nothing happened. The problem is, there's more pictures leaked again today. And more stories are leaking. Pablo Torres investigates. Pablo Torres has a whole thing out there, 45 minutes today on this whole thing. Pablo Torres, whose podcast is put out there by The Athletic. Pablo Torres, who worked with Rossini previously at ESPN, who worked with Rossini at The Athletic. As Pablo Torres puts it, we're not friends.
Well, and I don't think
each other.
His podcast isn't with The Athletic anymore. I think it's Westwood One.
Nope, it's The Athletic. He put it out today and said it's distributed by The Athletic. He said it on today's podcast because I was watching it to see what the hell was going on.
Because he always talks about it being through like Dan Lebatard's company that he runs.
Yeah, Meadowlark is the one that produces it, but The Athletic is the one that helps to distribute it. Understand? So, yes, Meadowlark, they don't care about any of this. Whatever, do what you want to do. But The Athletic, as was pointed out, could have stopped him and said, no, you're not doing this story on our person, right? And that's not what happened. They let him just go do his thing. You aren't going to be able to run and hide from this when you're these two individuals, because everybody now, because you're trying to sweep it under the rug, nobody admitting to anything, which maybe nothing did happen, but because of this, everybody now is trying to find the rest of the story. And they're going back 5-6 years with pictures and stuff now. Because now everybody's like, oh, I got pictures of them from when I was at a restaurant. How much are you going to pay me, New York Post or New York Times, to give them to you? How much do you want? TMZ, I'll give them to you. Oh, I can make some money if I go tell Pablo Torres. Maybe he'll pay me some money. Now everybody is trying to out these two. Horrible situation to be in for both of them. And again, I don't know what's going on. Ain't my business. It's their business, whatever. But in this situation, there's no running. There's no running.
And I think if I'm Diana Rossini, I'm not exactly happy with Vrabel in this because she's kind of vehemently denied it. In her resignation, she said, this is like, that didn't happen. I'm doing this because of me and I don't want to avoid this. Like, he didn't. He said that, and that sounded like he was saying that it's true. Like, that's kind of what that's saying. He doesn't say it. He doesn't say it. But the way that he's saying it, the words that he is saying is basically saying
and
it's
now,
true.
Dude's not going to be at day 3 of the draft tomorrow because he's going to be in counseling or something. Mm-hmm. Trell, North Side in Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on? Them both of them are guilty as can be, man. I'm sorry. I'm calling how I see it. But Sparky, I'm nominating Giannis Antetokounmpo, man. He didn't want to talk. He didn't want to shut down the rumors and the talk all through the season. Now he wants to start to come up with all these stories, talking about how he feel like he should have did it before. I don't want to hear it no more, man. Just go off into the sunset, Giannis, and wait to see what's going to end up happening. Either you're going to get traded or they're going to build this team up somehow. So do it that way. But all this if much, maybes and revisionist history, come on, man. Let's just stop it.
I'm with you. I'm sick of hearing from him as well. Thanks for the call, Trell. Have a good weekend. I got another one here from the 919. How about Shams Charania with the constant misinformation on Bucks reporting? Absolutely. We played it earlier in the show. Bobby Portis saying, he doesn't think the Charania report is true either, that Giannis wasn't involved, because that's what he said yesterday. My knowledge, there was no contact. Well, Bobby Portis laughed at that notion on Run It Back today on that TV show. Again,
maybe Bobby doesn't know either.
No, he doesn't, but he just finds it hard to believe if Giannis has been involved in all of this, that Giannis wasn't involved in this. And to be honest with you, it makes absolutely no sense why, if you are Taylor Jenkins, who according to reports is going to be the new Bucks head coach, why you wouldn't want to talk to Giannis before you sign a contract to see where his head's at. What are the chances of you staying? What don't I know, Giannis, about these owners that you can tell me about Jimmy Haslam, who's done nothing but lose for the Cleveland Browns? Like, what do you know? What can you give me insight on? I'm not signing anything if I'm Taylor Jenkins without having a phone conversation without Giannis or an in-person conversation with Giannis because he knows where all the bodies are buried in this deal. Like, I want to talk to you. What can you tell me about John Horst and how loyal he was to Bud and to Doc and to the rest of these guys?
And the people that you've speculated have been talking to Shams are Giannis's agents. And I don't think Giannis's agents wanted out there that Giannis was in this meeting because that leads more towards he's staying in Milwaukee. And it doesn't seem like they want that.
Absolutely. No question about that. I agree with you on that one. So those are a couple of the nominations that we have come in. It is Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. All right, Charlie Usen, what do you got?
All right. So I have Andrew McCutchen here, literally kind of pleading the fifth in an interview with a bunch of reporters from Pittsburgh. He's currently on the Texas Rangers, and a lot of people were asking him about if he feels kind of salty about not being on the Pirates in their best season to date in a long time.
Is there disappointment involved in just not being able to return to Pittsburgh?
I'd rather not answer that question.
Who do you view your relationship with the organization right now? Like, do you feel like you can theoretically sit up for them again one day down the road, or whenever you retire? Would it be any?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask them though.
What was communication like with them this offseason?
I'd rather not answer that question.
What was it like seeing Donnie again today?
I was cool. I haven't talked to him since last season, so it's nice to catch up and see how he's doing. Most of those guys, really, it's nice that they're doing well, and it's nice that to see that they're all, that the team's doing well too. So, so yeah, it was good to catch up with him for a little bit, considering that I haven't talked to him.
Bridge burned. Up in flames. I shouldn't say never, because I never thought the Packer thing would get fixed with Favre. And that took a decade, but they finally fixed it. So maybe eventually over the course of time, this will get healed. But this is pretty fresh, and dude's pretty mad.
And it's pretty, in my mind, kind of crazy that they didn't just bring him back for another year. Like, it feels like he was cheap last year. He was going to be cheap again this year. You had a team that's looking for veteran presence, and you have one right there that wants to be a part of it. Just seems really weird all around. Definitely Bridgeburn. Last up here, I got one more. This is Mekhi Lemon getting a call from the Pittsburgh
Now, this
Steelers.
is the rookie wide receiver, who got drafted yesterday and was on the phone with the Steelers, and the Steelers didn't realize it, and neither did he, that the Eagles traded up one spot in front of the Steelers, where the draft was, Pittsburgh, in front of the Steelers, and stole him in front of Pittsburgh. And this entire time, this dude is on the phone with Pittsburgh, thinking Pittsburgh's drafting him. He's all excited. Family's all excited in the green room. He's going to be a Steeler. And then he wasn't.
Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go, man. Hey, why Philly color? Yeah. Oh, Philly just traded for you. Hello? This is Philly. They just traded for you. Philly's taking you right now.
Philly's taking you right now. His dude, I don't know who it was. Is it from with a phone? Hey, Philly's on the phone right here.
He's got phones in both hands.
Philly just traded for you. They're taking you. I mean, could you imagine the agony and the heartbreak if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers?
The Pittsburgh Steelers
and you're at home and it's your draft?
You're one of the oldest franchises. You've been doing this draft for so long. You should know better. Like, that's way too early to be like. Don't call him until you're making that pick, man. Until you're putting his name on that draft card, don't call him.
That's just crazy, man. Crazy how that whole thing played out last night. Pretty well. So that was it for Plead the Fifth, powered by Habish and Rotier. For more information, if you're injured in a car accident and need to go somebody that you trust, somebody that is known for winning, somebody that's known for that national reputation and hometown service, they treat you like you are the most important thing to them, because you are. Go to Habish.com today. Coming up next, in things that Sparky missed on today's show, that's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, leadoff show, getting ready for Brewers baseball, comes up at 5 o'clock. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Only got a couple minutes left to go here in the show, which means we're running out of time, so we got to do this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
How about Micah Parsons? Had his big board for the draft last night, goes 8 of 8 in the first 8 picks in the draft yesterday, ends up going 8 of the first 10, Charlie.
That's pretty impressive, especially considering there's a lot of things that happened in this draft that I don't think people were expecting. Again, Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals was a surprise right away. Arvell Reese falling as low as he did, even though it was only to pick 5. Like, a lot of things happened in those first 8 that he probably shouldn't have gotten right.
Agreed. Some other stuff that we missed talking about today, one of which I think Bucs fans may not like. It appears Damian Lillard has a shot to play in the postseason this year now, according to the Oregonian, that he might still bank it in the playoffs if they continue to play going forward. That would be something.
That would be absolutely insane. Of course, he would probably drop like 50, help the Blazers win a round in the playoffs somehow, just be the team to upset the Spurs. Like, that would just make complete sense.
How about Mike Brown after the Knicks game yesterday, talking about, I don't know if we're going to win the series. I don't know.
Well, like, I get being honest, wanting to say the truth out there. You can't. You can't have those moments, man.
Come on, dude. He's been around forever. I know CJ McCollum's got your number for the Hawks, but dude,
and especially when you're starting Jalen Brunson struggling the way he is, just not getting going. Like,
Mikal Bridges.
You can't have that lack of confidence when those guys have it too.
Yes, no question about it. Yes, Mikal Bridges is really, really struggling. Stephen A. Smith went off on that dude earlier today. I saw on social media. So thanks for tuning in today to Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, we will get to the lead-off show from 5 until 6. I'm filling in for Tommy Worst today. Get ready for Brewers and Pirates. It's Scherzer Day. Not Scherzer Day. Skeens Day for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.